Hey everybody, my name is Kim Cock. If I have not worked with you before, I am the dumbest primate in the Forge. That's my distinct honor. So, yeah, the Forge, as you guys know, create a lot of application, and my role is to be able to commercialize the application that's matured enough to go to market. And one of the ones that came out earlier this year is HyveWorks. Most people know it as Insight. It's also known as Martini. I think that's really one of the tricks that Todd has is, instead of thinking that he creates a lot of application, what he does overnight, but he likes to rename it like 2-3 times. And so it adds up the application count. But great to have, on my panel, the panelists here from folks from both InfoBase as well as OpServe. We have Joe Lovelace, the CMO of InfoBase, Steve Segman, COO, Jen Lee, the CEO of OpServe, and Lou Hernandez, the VP at OpServe. So they're joining me to talk about the supply chain risk management space, which we launched a couple of products in. They're going to talk about why it's different, why it's unique. So for folks that are not familiar with InfoBase, they're the maker of DACIS. We use DACIS internally. I was introduced to DACIS from the AMS team. We use it on a project currently called IBIC at AFRL. It has lots of aerospace and defense information as it relates to programs, contracts, market dynamics. This information are inside the DACIS database. They've been around for 30 plus years.
30 years.
Yeah, okay. So it's been proven. They have lots of customers in the space. So InfoBase launched in February a product called CrossSight that leverages DACIS plus other data that they have from their own internal research, along with Core4ce data and our AI backend for doing due diligence, the HyveWorks backend. So they've launched it. It's an application that you can go onto the website today. You can buy the due diligence report and get results in minutes. So it's a great application. OpServe, for folks who are not familiar, they have they're small, women-owned business, been around for 20 plus years. Jen and team specialize in threat intelligence, threat assessment, intelligence operations. They have stood up multiple intelligence cells to help support government throughout the world, as well as commercial companies. So we're blessed to have their experience on the team because they have current customers that's doing due diligence and supply chain risk management to help guide the development of HyveWorks over the years, over the last few years. So we have, the HyveWorks technology that we're going to go to market with the team that allows us to respond to RFIs and RFPs and also leverage their expertise and quals as we respond to those RFPs. So first question over to you guys, because we talked about data being fundamental to Core4ce and in support of mission. Can you talk about the InfoBase team, the DACIS? The data, how do you guys collect it? How is it unique and differentiated in the marketplace?
Yeah, so we've been, as we mentioned, we've been around 30 years. And one of the interesting things about DACIS is that from the outside, we might look like a big data company. Some may think that's what we are, but it's certainly not who we are. Since its inception, InfoBase has maintained that mission-centric information should be easy to find and even easier to apply in decision-making. And that's really guided our entire approach. And that's why, although we'll see different information vendors out there and you see a lot of newcomers throwing AI against public sources and trying to produce that, for us, it's really around intelligence. And that's because DACIS to us is not a database. We incorporate an enormous amount of information from different sources, government sources, public sources, but it's a continuous intelligence operation to us. And a lot of that is because it's a living data set. Information in the markets that we cover can get stale very quickly. and can be either irrelevant or quickly lose attachment to other related information. And what has made DACIS distinctive, and one of the things about being able not just to scale, but to be relevant, is that we just don't ingest the data. We structure it in a way that allows us to contextualize the data, and then we associate the data. So every record that we ingest, we relate it to the other applicable records that are in the system. And so when programs change, program numbers change, names change, vendors change, ownership changes, we have a whole focus on merger and acquisition. You're not going to lose that information. So when you go into to a modern opportunity that may involve people that were in companies from 2 or 3 years ago, all of that information is going to continue to be relayed. And for those of you using DACIS, you know what I mean. We're covering contracts, programs, customers. We're covering forecasting, M&A, FPDS Pro, the way that FPDS should be working. But it's all important for us to be able to relate that information and make sure that it's easily in context, not just globs of info. But the big thing that helps us, and one of the reasons that I love the product that we've been doing, is the fact that we haven't removed the human element. We have expert industry analysts. We have experts from the industry who are actually on staff. We are ingesting, on a slow day, we're ingesting a little over 100,000 new records daily. And not just stacking it, but again, we're relating that, we're contextualizing it, we're making it available. But it requires human eyes. So regardless of AI, regardless of high performance infrastructure, what you'll see just top performance from the way that we control the information. The important thing for us is to make sure that human eyes are still on it, to be able to mediate out any of the issues or any of the outliers. As we know, that data that's produced by the government is 100% error-free. And and to that end, it takes people who know the workings and how contracts work and how programs work and so on to be able to keep that and track that. And we'll do that to make sure that that information is associated. But I think the bigger value, and one of the reasons that CrossSight is just working for us, is because we have many different types of users serving many different types of missions. And one of the more important things is many users serving a common mission. So whatever lens, wherever you are in the organization, trying to meet a common goal, whether it's business development, vetting a partner, vetting a supplier, analyzing risk, the information that you're using puts you in a place to be able to communicate with the rest of your team, because all that information is contained in the same system. And that's one of the reasons that we don't just scale, but we're able to scale and we're able to maintain relevance.
Nice. And to the Observe team, right, you guys have used DACIS on your customer site currently, along with other data set. Can you talk about what's the cost of doing a supply chain risk management solution where you have multiple data sets that you have to acquire? And how does HyveWorks, because we have data that comes with it, we have ties into folks like DACIS that comes out of the box. How does it help in terms of the cost of the project?
Well, DACIS is one of the tools that we use. We have a contract with ASPR, with HHS, and we do all the due diligence and vetting. We actually created the project there. We started it, we've been there forever, since the beginning, actually doing Operation Warp Speed. We were vetting all the companies that were doing the vaccines and therapeutics. My background comes from that as a retired agent, and coming from making sure that the companies are who they say they are. So we use DACIS as one, but we also use Sayari, CapIQ, LexisNexis, Clear, so many different databases that it creates a real problem. Not only is it time consuming, but it's expensive. Each seat for each one of these databases that our analysts use costs money. So how we see HyveWorks working for us is it consolidates and aggregates this information where we can use one. It makes it easier. One place where we can find the information. It's all there. And also one contract. Working with the government and contracting office is not easy. So every time that we have to have a new subscription, it's a whole new contract. So how many do you need? Why do you need them? How many? Oh my gosh, that's so expensive. Do you use that one? Which one can we get rid of? So using HyveWorks will give us the opportunity to get rid of, eliminate a lot of these different databases that we use, all in one place, eliminates time wasted, contracts, and also gives our analysts one place to find the information. We actually use Google Boolean, believe it or not, for adverse news. HyveWorks has adverse news in there. We've pulled some reports while we were helping to build it, and now that we have a more finished product, and the adverse news is in there, it makes our life a lot easier, because one of the things that we try to do is protect the government and ASPR from doing business with nefarious companies or nefarious people. And we don't want to show up at the Wall Street Journal, hey, ASPR is doing business with company B, that guy just got arrested for being a pedophile. The company might be great, but the CEO is a creep, right? So we want to make sure that that doesn't happen. So adverse news is important to us as well as financial data, who they are, who the key management personnel are, what contracts do they have, how long have they had these contracts, what other things do we not know, beneficial owners, corporate networks, all the things behind that, and who else owns it. And when we do a supply chain risk analysis, we don't only do the first tier, but we go 3 tiers, 4 tiers out, because we want to know who their cybersecurity people are. Not their cybersecurity people, but have they had any problems with cybersecurity? Has their information appeared on the dark web? What else is going on? Their network. Have their companies that they're vetting, their vendors, have they appeared on the dark web? What problems have they had? So those are all the things that we see HyveWorks working for us. We've actually had a real problem with cyber that we couldn't find a vendor or a data source to really help us. And HyveWorks and Core4ce does that very well, and it's really helping us out.
Right. Thank you for that advertisement. We got so for the InfoBase team, you've built DACIS to secure use for different types of folks, right? Everybody from like the OpServe team using it for pharmaceutical supply chain, but you have financial M&A folks using it. How do you support multiple types of users, with DACIS?
That's a great question. And I love it because it gives me an opportunity to first talk about our team. So we've been very intentional in how we hire people, and mostly how we decide when we need somebody new is when we find a new use case. So we're always on the lookout for that use case. But because that's been our method of hiring and finding great people, every potential use case you can imagine is represented on our team. So our analysts, most of them are former users, and they were living the life that our customers were living. They know the pain points. I was a program manager. I was responsible for profit and loss. I supported military program managers. I got to see that whole world and live that whole world. And then I brought that all back to InfoBase. This is my second go around with InfoBase. I was with them right out of college, and then I left and went and worked at the Pentagon for about 15 years. And I brought all that wisdom back, and we've hired those people, former military program managers. And so they represent our customers in that way. But we're always on the lookout for new use cases. One of my favorite stories is, we have customers that are just 4 or 5 subscriptions, right? But we also have companies that subscribe to us on an enterprise level. And there was an enterprising young man at a conference. He had shown up, he had just gotten a promotion, and the way he had gotten the promotion was he had gone to use InfoBase because someone had said, oh, by the way, we have this thing. And he went and found ways to gather information that was useful to his boss. And so his boss fell in love with him immediately, because who doesn't like someone out there trying to make you look good, right? So there's a use case for literally from the most junior person all the way to the top. The second big way that we make sure it's useful to the different use cases is that we provide information that is useful and contextualized from the tactical to the strategic and from the strategic to the tactical. It doesn't matter what your level is, there's information for you. So you can use that to employ your strategy, but you can also use that to help you understand the tactics that your competitors are using, or that your teammates are using, or that your customers are using, and you stay knowledgeable about what the tactics might need to be a few levels below you in the org chart, right? So, and I know a lot of that jives real well with what some of the other folks up here were saying, but that difference between tactical and strategic is so important, and we feed both of those sets of customers. So.
Great, thank you. And Jen, similar question to you. Can you bring the people element to this, right? So you guys have all source intelligence analysts. How do you guys support multiple missions, right? And how do you guys are able to differentiate, the offering with HyveWorks, having your analysts on our team?
Yeah, and answering the question from OpServe as a consumer of data. We have been operationalizing data for 20 years. So coming from that point of view, it's all about having the subject matter experts and the analysts on the ground. It's so important. HHS is a great example that our contract, 5-year contract, the majority of the first year contractually was learn about us. They were open. We were working with them. We didn't come with these data sets and shove a solution at them. We worked with them. We came to a conclusion that they didn't think we would, but we were literally 9 months on the ground speaking with our office that contracted us, and then we spoke with NIH, CDC, the regional offices, all the intelligence organizations with whom they had relationships, and the intelligence organizations with whom we thought they should have relationships. So we customized what they needed. And then what we did then was Lou went out shopping for data.
Yeah.
And so we came to HHS, we need 10 analysts, and we need, for example, 5 data sets, and so we need 10 seats on each of those data sets. And eyes went wide, and Lou had to work really hard to figure out what information can we do without. And so when our longtime friends at Core4ce came to us and gave us a demonstration of HyveWorks and saw how we leaned in and asked us to take part in the project, we're very excited because now we can go to this client and others, spend that time getting to know them, fine-tuning what they need, customizing it, and then with HyveWorks, one-stop shop. The sourcing is incredible. All the data sources that HyveWorks has, we can cherry pick and set up a customizable content for our clients that's an actionable format.
Nice.
The important thing for us is that we can customize it. We use the information. We're a consumer, and we customize the reports to our clients. It's not a one-stop shop. We customize it. We have all source analysts that a lot of them have come from the military, a lot of them have come from the law enforcement world, or just from industry. And we've taken all the data, and now we've customized it. We use Asper because it's our biggest client, and it's where we started. And that's where we've created this program. And the SCAR, we call it a Supply Chain Assessment Report. And coming from our world, we needed an acronym, so we got a SCAR. Everybody knows what a SCAR is. So, and it's become the go-to thing at HHS, and different departments have copied it. They haven't perfected it. We're still where everybody comes to for questions. But we've customized the reports to what they need. This department needs this. BARDA needs the one thing. The industry, IBM SC, I forget, they have so many acronyms, needs something else. And what does they need? And we customize it to them. But all of it is based on the due diligence and the vetting of who their vendors are or who they're giving contracts to. These are our money. This is our taxpayer dollars, and billions of dollars comes out of HHS. So we want to make sure that the money where it's going is a good place and they're good people.
We've had a lot of previous session talking about AI, right? And what's the impact, challenges, potentially opportunities as well, AI brings to the supply chain risk management space?
Yeah, well, just for us, one of the things that, that's been exciting for us is always seeing how our clients are using the technology. And again, it's just repeating it. Our strategy has been that mission-centric information is easy to find and easier to apply. And that strategy continues to play. So when AI comes into it, like it does with CrossSight, where we're combining the dark web scanning, we're combining all of this different, all this different information coming from AI, and we're able to go, we're able to have, help fuel that from the data and the structure and the relationships and the context that we have in DACIS. It's another tech for us, but the fact is that we're able to adapt and meet the needs of clients. So from us, it's really around into the discipline. Now, what is interesting is one of the decades in my career was spent in cybersecurity, and I fully agree at some point it'll be AI versus AI. But that human element and that mediation element is still going to need to be part of it. So when it comes to us being able to support our friends and our clients, like operational surveyor, it's making sure that we don't get lost, wrapped up in the trinket that is AI, but that we're leveraging it cleanly to provide the data that you need to perform the mission.
So I would say that the initial challenge of AI, when the AI craze started, was personal. Because our analysts looked at us like many people looked at their companies and said, is this going to replace me? And I was very happy to say that I don't see that ever happening for us. It might delay our hiring. It might make us more efficient. But in my first response, I talked about how great our people are. How crazy would I be to let those amazing people go? But how crazy would I be not to put a potential tool into their hands that can make their lives easier, better, more enjoyable? The big wins for our analysts is when we hear from one of our customers, and we don't generally publicize who our customers are, but we do get feedback consistently. And every now and then, one of them will come back and say, I used DACIS and it made the difference. You guys gave me a piece of information I couldn't find anywhere else, and it helped me win. It helped me compete. It helped me look good. It helped make my customer happier. And our analysts live for those moments. And so when we can give them a tool that can provide better, more accurate ground truth reality in a way that it increases the odds that they're going to provide that piece of information for our customers. And they're driven for that, from our most junior person to our most senior person. That's why we do what we do, because that's the fun of it. Mm-hmm. That's the fun of it, right? We are people who like to know things, and we want our customers to know things, but most importantly, know things that make the difference. So AI is a tool, like any other tool, right? You can use it well, you can use it poorly. So the second challenge after reassuring people is to make sure that they're using it in a way that is good, that we're using it in the right way, and that we're using trustworthy systems. Not every AI is created equal. Not everything that's claimed to be AI is AI. So we have to be very careful and intentional in how and which tools we use, right?
Jen?
I agree with and appreciate what Joe is saying about the human element. We treat AI, and we embrace it, but we treat it as a stream of information that needs to be vetted and corroborated. For example, we do biosurveillance for private companies. And the reason why that business is always booming is that there's countries out there, and the last thing they're going to do is self-report. They're not going to tell you COVID's happening. They're not going to tell you dengue fever's coming down the pike. But AI will tell us that there's more people going to the hospital in a certain province. And what we do, we have a ground truth network that Core4ce is well aware of, that we had someone in the nearby medical hospital. And we're like, what's going on? He went to his friends in the hospital and found out it was indeed dengue fever. So then we can now go to our company client and they can get everybody out of Dodge. Or if it's something that they can vaccinate against, so we can prepare their workforce. So again, we treat it as a very valuable source of information, still needs to be corroborated, vetted, and combined with others.
Well, I was just thinking about what Steve said, and I agree with him. I mean, we use it as a tool. Our analysts immediately embraced it. None of them asked me, hey, Lou, are we going to get fired? They were like, this is great. Now we can do this, because they all have that mentality. They come from the cyber world. And they're, how can we embrace it? What else can we do? how much faster can we do it now? So in that sense, they have taken that tool and just gone. But again, there has to be somebody to check it and vet it because, as has been said here all morning, it can take off and give you information that's like, hey, this is nothing what we're looking for. So we're definitely learning all the time, and they're working on it. And we have found that, just getting the right prompt, asking the right question is so important with AI. Because if the question is vague, you're going to get a lot of information. Keeping it, right for what you're looking for, and then not letting it get out, because it can get out of your network and go out and do its own work. Just like we've been talked about here before, we're starting to use AI agents, and the agent can go out and now it's out there doing its own work. And so we're trying to keep that focus, but AI has become a really good tool for us, and our analysts have really embraced it.
Got the blinking lights, so I think this is it for us. But I want to thank the panel for coming and supporting the technology. I can't think of two companies that are better in terms of providing data and the people that we need to go to market in the supply chain risk management space. So appreciate you guys. Thank you for that. We also we have set up in the next room a demo. If you guys want to see CrossSight, we'll be there too, and for Q&A. So if you have any questions, have any leads for us, please let us know. See us next in the next door. Thank you. Thank you.